Hi, this is Rodney Apple with SCM Talent Group. I recently sat down with Sarah Vandermyden with MasTec Industrial. Sarah is a buyer, and we covered her day in the life of a buyer on this next episode of the Supply Chain Careers podcast. Hope you enjoy. Sarah, what do you, in terms of like the experience that's needed for this role? We know that most roles you're going to have kind of those hard skills, could be more technical, functional, and then the soft skills, which are, could be communicating with people, leading change, negotiation skills, and things like that. But what are some of those core hard and soft skills that you feel are very important for the types of roles that you've been in?
Sure. So I think a big part of my role is the attention to detail, because you're dealing with not just large sums of money, but sometimes very highly technical information. Sometimes you're dealing across multiple parties, whether it be engineering, scheduling, the project management, the client themselves. There's all different kinds of moving pieces. So you also have to, like puzzles in a way, and things that are always moving, and you're always kind of trying to catch up, or you're waiting around. There's a lot of hurry up and waiting in procurement, but when there's a lot going on, there's a lot going on. But definitely having a sense of creativity and curiosity around wanting to learn the industry you're working in as well. I've picked up a lot of different things from previous industries that help me now in my current industry that I didn't think would be applicable. So you never know what you're going to take with you from one role to another. As far as, like, I guess hard skills would be, it's a lot of administrative work. So definitely staying organized, keeping on top of, your day-to-day tasks. It's a lot of following up, and it's a lot of record keeping in a lot of ways, to make sure that you're verified what you're buying, and you got the right approvals, and you have the right invoices, and everything lines up correctly. So definitely a lot of organization and very, very effective communication.
In your role, what are some of the high level things that that you need to accomplish? Obviously, you're like you said earlier, you're spending the company's money, but we need to spend that wisely, right? But what are some of the common goals, objectives that you're tasked with?
Yeah, so in my current role, this is the highest level of buying I have done personally, because it is industrial construction. So it's a lot more technical reviews and things like this. So a lot of what I'm working on now are specific packages. Currently, I'm working on a valve package as well as a pipe supports package for a very large industrial site in Rochester, New York. And that's following up with vendors, it's comparing notes, it's communicating cut sheets or data sheets between engineering for review, and verifying pricing and lead times via commercial bids, and getting, commercial bid evaluations, and acquiring the correct approvals from management and from the site team, as well as the client. I assist in some training. I've been in my current position for about 6 months. So as we get new team members, I do help them with learning the programs, understanding who to go for, or who to go to for whatever they need, if I am unable to help them.
What are those typical challenges that you run into? We know there's lead time issues, vendor, you can't find the product, comes damaged, but what are some of the others that you commonly run into?
I ran into one as I was logging onto this podcast, actually, because I was finishing up, I was waiting on a requisition from site. We've been having an issue with getting phase codes, so I can't write a PO without those. And getting it last minute, I'm off tomorrow and Monday, so if I can't do it today, I have to get it done, so I'm going to be finishing that up after we wrap up here. Obviously delays, lead times. I have a lot of issues currently with, in my current role and in my previous role, with engineering changing designs last minute, which is just like, all right, guys. I'm glad that your math is mathing but you're ruining my PO. And
Yep.
how am I going to explain this to my vendor? Keeping vendor relationships copacetic.
Yep.
When there's issues, when there's billing issues, when there's shipping issues, when there's interpersonal issues, with between the clients and the vendor, the site and the vendor, or whatever it is, that can definitely be a challenge. And have to pull out my most charming charms, and be the most business professional person with just like the biggest customer service smile on my face, and I'm not even, like I'm actually the customer.
Yep. So Sarah, in closing, you're speaking to people that may be looking to build a career in procurement. What would you advise to those that are seeking out maybe their first buyer job? Because we know this job exists in most industries, if not all industries. So you kind of have to factor that piece in. But you've got small companies that need people to handle purchasing, and the large companies will have a small army of people. But anything you'd like to advise just from your perspective and your learnings over the years?
Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice is to just go for it, for sure. Always apply to the job if you want to. Don't let experience, education, most importantly yourself, get in the way. There's always a way to market yourself with the skills that you have, even if you've only worked at a Wendy's, to be able to land yourself an entry-level role as a buyer. It's something that is needed across all industries. It's something, like you said, it can range from mom and pop to an army of buyers. And pros and cons to both of those things, but
right,
it is something that anyone can do. It's just not something that everyone is going to like to do. So if you have any kind of inkling of a job where you can still be creative, have a stable career, be able to grow into different roles if you want to, be able to touch different industries if you want to, be able to work from home. I have worked hard to be able to get a remote position, and that has been pretty great. It's definitely more normalized after COVID, but always taking that leap and just trusting yourself. I decided to not go to college, and that has not hindered my career at all. If anything, it has made me a little more boisterous to know that I am just as capable as someone who was college educated.